There's gotta be some kind of truth in what I'm saying.
I mean, I can get you the phone book.
No.
Okay. Had to wait till this
shirt
time.
blends in with the background, so I just look this
My
wide.
shirt. My shirt's much better. I came prepared.
Well, this is.
Wear this shirt, so.
What?
I do like that shirt. I'm going to talk about that shirt today. So welcome to Whiskey Weights and Whey. We have, I'm Chuck.
I'm Zach.
And we have Chris and Christie today here with us from, is it Iron Empire Barbell? Or what? How do you say it?
Club.
That's correct.
Club. Okay, cool. Y'all want to talk louder than that because
Oh,
like
it.
either you got to enunciate really well or talk a little louder.
So like normal, just like overdo it.
Y'all are power lifters. I can hear y'all yell before. Come on.
Yeah. Well,
I
here,
can
let
get
me
loud.
drink. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's get a couple of drinks in us. That'll help.
Okay.
We have two different whiskeys. We got Breckenridge bourbon whiskey, and then we've got Whistle Pig Rye. Which would y'all prefer?
No, I want that one because you gave me that one before and I'm a fan.
Oh, I've had both. It all tastes good.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying.
I know.
I'll let you pour your own glass.
So I mean,
Which
like,
one do you want?
I'll take the Whistle Pig. Yeah.
So anybody work out today?
I mean, I did a lot of chores and I feel like that's similar. So,
Definitely.
but no, we don't usually work out on the weekends.
I worked out yesterday, so I took the day off. I got a comp
I
next
have to
Saturday.
spend all weekend recovering.
All right. Chin chin.
Chin.
Oh God.
There we go.
You didn't touch. You got back up.
That's hey, keep that rolling. Perfect.
Did you work out today?
No, I worked out. Oh God, that went down the wrong pipe. I worked out yesterday prepping for my competition this Saturday. So I did like a dry run through some of the events and got ready to kill myself next weekend.
Best thing I saw was the tandem walk.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
With-
not a real thing, though.
No,
I know, but they were
It
face
should
to
be real.
face.
Yeah.
They were face to
I
face.
saw it. That's why I'm like, that cannot be a real event.
no.
You should incorporate that.
Nate
That
looked
is-
really happy.
Oh yeah, Nate and Trey, they're hilarious. That was after I left. I had already left that point.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
You-
that's
you
what you ought
probably
to run in the
demonstrated.
promo. Like, seriously, like, yeah, big prep.
that's right. I did say I was going to start an OnlyFans for strongman, and all the proceeds go to building equipment. So maybe it's something we look into in the future.
I think you could definitely. I think that could be a thing.
Oh yeah,
We've been trying to get someone to start an OnlyFans for gym equipment, but
Yeah, pendulum squat.
hadn't found anyone.
She
yet.
knows who she is.
or somebody went out. We had some people testing the gym out today, so I meant to unplug that when I came back in here. I forgot.
Wish I could have people test out my gym.
Speaking of, so y'all run a gym. Are y'all moving or?
Have moved. Thought we would just limp along with the generator till everything got hooked up. Literally the day after they sunk the electric pole and tied in, got shut down because we don't have an occupancy ability yet per the city. So we even had water. They took that away too. That's okay. I bring 5-gallon bucket full of water so she can flush the toilet because we use the facilities outside.
There you go.
That's okay.
I don't use facilities outside.
No, she does not use the
I
facilities
don't
outside.
blame you.
But that's the shittiest thing ever. I feel like I am right back to our roots when we started, which was an underground COVID gym.
So tell me a little bit about how y'all got started, because y'all were working out at another gym in Birmingham, and then y'all kind of branched out on your own during COVID, correct?
You can tell the story. Tell the story.
Okay, I'll
I've
tell
told
the
it a
story.
lot. You tell it your
What-
perspective.
First off, what gym were y'all working out at? Because I think it was the same one I was working out at.
Flex.
Flex, that's off like in Irondale,
Mm-hmm.
right down the road from where
It used to be a
like a 3-story.
furniture store. I think.
Yeah. Okay. So I worked out there for a little while when I lived up there. It was right across the street from American Thrift Store's corporate office.
I got you.
So I would just get off work and go straight across the street. But so tell me a little bit about how y'all moved from that to y'all's own thing.
Well, so COVID happened, the gym got shut down. Teddy did not shut the gym down. He was letting us still come in like under the radar.
Through
that-
the back door.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Even though all the cars were out front and whatever. so basically he got busted and had to shut down. So at that point, we were like, well, what do we do? And so first Chris moved, and at the time we didn't have a lot of equipment, and there were some other people that trained with us that had not given us, but had contributed equipment.
Yeah.
And we took everything that he had and moved it to his shop at work first.
Chris's.
Yes. And so I was doing at-home workouts with bands, and oh god, that's a nightmare. It lasted like a week and a half. And then from there, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to get a storage unit," which is what he did. And so there's a storage unit actually like kind of close to Flex.
Yeah.
And he
Like catty
rented.
corner.
I don't know how big was that storage unit? 8 by like it was.
It was 10 by 20.
Yeah, like
Okay.
really.
That was the
About the size of my
biggest
garage
one
in my
they
house,
sold.
yeah.
Yeah, and we moved the equipment in there, and it was literally like Tetrised into this place. And to get in there, like you had to pull the plate rack out into the drive.
Yep.
So we did that for a week until we got in trouble for loitering. And
The owner of
Is
the
this
gym,
Birmingham?
hold on, the owner,
I know.
the owner of the storage facility was rolling by in a golf cart where we were lifting. He's like, "Who told you could do it?" I was like, "The lady right up front." He's like, "When?" I was like a week ago. I said exactly what we're going to be doing. Is this okay? And she was like, "Sure." He's like, "I will give you all your money back if you just disappear," because he thought he was going to be in trouble for COVID. I mean, like,
Yeah.
everybody was freaking out.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Oh,
So then continue on. What did we do then? Because we like moving so much at this point. We're like, what's one more move?
well, I was renting a house that was right up the street, and it had a finished basement. So it had a finished basement, and then it had like the carport or the garage, I guess. And I was like, we could move the equipment in there, somewhat serious and somewhat not serious. And I think it was like less than 24 hours later, and he was like, "So, can we move the gym to your garage?" And we did. And so we moved all the equipment that we had in there, and we trained there for 3 or 4 months, I think. So every day people were at my house between 2:30, 3 o'clock till whenever people got done.
Mhm.
And I was working at home from COVID. So like it worked out. And then from there we rented the smaller space from where we just moved from, and then took over next door and then combined them. And then now we're where we are now. So
Yeah, y'all had
Yeah.
a very similar path that we had here. Like we started in our garage at the house in 2020 during COVID. We were training people virtually, and then neighbors decided to start coming over. So then we moved into our place in 21. I think y'all moved in 21 in the
2020.
storefront.
2020.
Y'all moved into the storefront in 2020. I thought it was.
it was like fall of 2020.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But like we didn't put any sign up. The windows were blacked out, and we parked in the back.
There you go.
Loner's a crackhead, so I don't think he cares.
He did not. He just liked money. He liked money, and it was COVID, and he wasn't making any, and that was it. It's crazy because the first lease for the smallest unit that was a barbershop, I think I paid $1,000 a month, and I was petrified to sign a 2-year lease for $1,000 a month. I was like, "Oh, this is not something I want to do." But then, like when this new lease came up, I was like, "Oh, that's like $500,000. Okay, where do I sign? This is a good deal." Like that was
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Didn't even think about it.
Oh, I know.
Like I have a lot of faith in everything now. I just want to keep moving forward.
Y'all have built a really good reputation in powerlifting up in
I have
Birmingham.
no idea how. We just like to drink and have fun.
Oh, that does
That's
it.
probably how.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it started with
Cheers.
3 people.
Yeah.
Like seriously, it was him and Joe. I don't know if you've ever met. Joe's the older guy. He's like my gym dad that trains with Chris, and then someone else that's not in our group anymore. But it was them two, and I actually asked him to coach me, so I was his first, I guess, official athlete ever. And then like we just stuck together, and then we had a group of maybe 10 other people when we moved, and then it started slowly growing. And then once we expanded from the barbershop to the place next door, and then had both spaces occupied, we really started to get more people in there. And just like the personalities, like either you get it or you don't. And like we do have people that come in and they do their own thing and they leave, but we both don't like to lose. So we take things very seriously when we need to, but also life's too short to just
Yeah.
not,
We
have a
take
good
our
time.
partying very seriously.
Everything seriously,
Yeah.
really.
Yes.
She did a F and Strong in 23. Yeah,
Yeah, it was last year.
yeah, 23. And we had to go over and tell her, look, you've already won the event. You don't have to keep going. Like she would do 30 reps when she won it with 10. Like, stop. You don't have to keep going after you beat the person. She's like, no, I'm going to go all out.
It's a weird thing to me, like to just
Yeah,
not
why would
just
you
to
shut
know.
down? Yeah. It's a mindset.
It's like, that was the
Yeah.
first event. Chill. Like she came out, her first overhead press beat everyone else. And she still had 2 more attempts. She's like, I'm still going to go. I'm like, why? Save your energy. You got 4 more events.
because then it feels like I didn't try.
Right.
Like
Well, that's even better if you
Well,
win
it's
without
like an
trying.
elite mindset, though. It's,
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, I get that there's strategy and shit
Yeah.
like that, but at the same time, it's like if you're going to go hard, go hard.
I know. That's why I keep trying to get her to do that show.
What's that show?
That show.
I was going to my knee was acting up. But
That's another reason why she's here today, so I can bully her into next year's.
Mm.
I already said I was going to do it. So
Nice.
No
You already
bullying
got an
required.
invite, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that's why I like powerlifting though compared to strongman. And I also haven't done strongman enough to like
Mm-hmm.
know it well to speak on it. But what I do know, like to me, powerlifting, even like the training style, when you're in the gym and just like we'll come up with stuff that nobody else is doing. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, we tried. But I think
Yeah.
that's also what sets us apart too, because it's always like, how can we be better? Not just going through the motions of
Right.
something,
Mm-hmm.
but on the competition floor, I want to know that I gave it everything that I had when I walked away. And so I don't know, that was just weird to me. Like,
Well,
and I get it, but
in powerlifting, you are trying to outdo yourself as much as you're outdoing
Yeah.
the other people.
And
in
we
your
had a
division.
conversation the other day about this. Like that's the kind of the people that have always gravitated into our group that have stuck with us. They have that kind of inner ability when it's time to show up to redline it,
Mhm.
and they can do it. And that's I don't know if like that's kind of like our thing. Like it's not so much for yourself as for like the people that are in like your close circle too. So because
Oh, yeah.
you know they're like ride or die with you.
Mhm.
Like I told her when she's doing like any big lift, I can feel that whole lift because I've seen her do it 1,000 times or KT do it 1,000 times. Like I know exactly what's going to happen from the moment the bar comes out of the rack. I'm like, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And I already know what I want to do next if it's like an opener or a second or something like that. So like that's what I really enjoy. Like I mean, it's really like a family. I mean, that's what I really love about it, and just seeing people get to express themselves in a different form
Mhm.
that not a lot of people get to do. Like, I mean, she did a lift the other day, and she's like, I'm really disappointed. I'm like, that was 1% of 1% of all time females ever in history. And she's like, that's bullshit. I'm like, okay, let me look it up. So I pulled it up. She's like, how many women have done that weight or more? I'm like, 32, and you're one of them. So I was like, that's out of 30,000. So that's literally 1 out of 1,000, which
Yeah.
is 1% of 1%. She's like, well, if you put it like that, I'm like, okay, well, yeah. I
And
was
that's
like,
1% of active
in the whole world ever.
No, I'm saying that's 1% of people who are highly motivated to try. You're not counting the whole world. You take the whole world, you're like 0.00001.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's people that have never stepped on a platform.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, but like if you're 1% of the most elite,
yeah. What a loser. No, kidding. So like that's it's amazing how we have a pretty small fishbowl with some really great human beings in there. And like it's uncanny to be from this area and then go to like we went to Mississippi, and no disrespect to them, but I was like, wow, we are way far above most of these kids.
Did you do MASA, the Mississippi Strength Association?
No,
thing?
I did a WRPF meet
Oh,
a week and a half ago with one leg, basically.
that
So
was USPA.
whatever USPA, I don't know. I was drinking. It all blends together. What does it matter? Anyways, so like we went there, and like just seeing what the other people are doing around, I'm like, gosh, we are really far above ahead of everybody else. But when we're working in our groups, to us, we're like, oh, I suck today. And I'm like,
Mhm.
on our shittiest day, we absolutely destroy everybody in this whole competition. And I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I want to be number one, like how she was saying. I want to win everything. I want all my athletes to win everything. And I will literally go blind trying to figure out how to make that happen. And, one thing that I kind of torture myself with is everybody that I have, I write programs specifically for them.
Mhm.
So that's not like the normal approach, which is use a
Cookie cutter,
template and
yeah.
plug in a few numbers. I'm like, no, she has her right glute is not as strong as her left pec, and I'm going to change this, and I'm going to work on this imbalance. I'm going to do the negative, like that's kind of things. But I mean, it seems to be working out really well.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have a fear of telling somebody that they suck at something, even when they're good. I'm like, yeah, that was terrible. Like
That's important.
we can
Oh,
fix
yeah.
that.
But
and
you
make
got to
that
be
better.
honest with your athletes, because if you're not helping them. But,
I'm not going to fluff anybody's ego because it's
Yeah.
not going to work good for me or them,
exactly.
So what do you feel like is the big difference between your mindset here in Mississippi that makes y'all kind of like on top of the game?
Oh, well, like I said, just if we don't go to a big meet, like I pretty much know that somebody in our group's going to win it. And like Millard won it last week. He's never won best lifter before. He got Masters best lifter. And I mean, that's a big deal for somebody. When he came to me, he could only, I think, pull maybe 500. He benched maybe 380-ish, and then squat might have been 450. And like in this meet, he squatted 530, benched in the low fours, and then pulled in the sixes. But like,
How, like, where at in
he's
the
a
sixes?
natural athlete.
Do you
So what did he
remember?
pull, like 630 and miss
Yeah, I think he
660?
makes- yeah.
So he pulled more in a powerlifting meet that's very strict than he did on the Mammoth Bar at Limit Breaker
Mhm.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So he's grown a lot in just the last couple of years. That's
But he
insane.
started with me when he was 45,
And
he's what, 49?
I couldn't tell you. That's what I was
Yeah.
asking. I think to answer your question, I think it's also the team mindset too, because anytime we go somewhere, like really, you have these athletes now in the culture. It's the most expensive equipment I can get. That's what I need to do my first meet. And, I just need to get a coach that has a lot of followers on Instagram and whatever. And we're just really, I would say, old school. Like we come in, we got our lawn chairs, we got our whiskey, we got our shit, and we're just together and we're hanging out and people go support each other. Like we just went to Atlanta yesterday because there was one of the athletes competing there. And I think that's a big part of it.
There's such a big movement to online coaching lately, and not knocking it because I coach people online too. I mean, you can be effective in coaching virtually, but it doesn't mean the same. It just doesn't get the same results as having someone come in, work with you in person, one-on-one, building that relationship and learning the person. So like y'all have a very small knit community that this person's glute is weaker than, their left's weaker than their right because you see it on a daily basis versus.
But my online people know that if they come to my gym around our group, that they better not be fucking around.
Yeah, but I'm saying they still have the ability to come to group. There's a lot of people. I know a lot of people who are like, yeah, my coach is in England or my coach is in California. You're never going to see that person.
I have lots of people I'll never see.
Exactly. Well, okay. I didn't know if you did a lot of virtual.
Mm-hmm.
I know you had a lot in like Montgomery and stuff, but
no,
I see them
people overseas
like,
that I literally will probably never meet. But like,
okay,
they go and see, all of the other lifters lifting. I'm reposting stuff all the time, and that drives them. They're like, oh, they can do it. I can do it.
Okay.
Do you vet, I guess, the people that you work with?
Nope. I will take anybody and everybody.
So
but they have to know that
there's expectations.
Yeah. I mean, but it's on them. Like I said, yeah, I can show you what to do, but you're going to have to do it.
Right.
And if you can't do it, don't. It doesn't bother me. Somebody else will.
But you've had people where, because what we do, like you're not going to go into the gym and finish your workout in an hour, period. Like that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've had people join the team and they're like, this is just too long. And I will say one thing about him that a lot of coaches, to my knowledge, don't do. I'm sure there are coaches that do this, but you have like maybe you have a coach and they do conjugate style or they do this method or whatever it may be, and that's what they do. And if you don't like that, then maybe find a new coach. But he's always been like willing to learn. So the first equipped athlete he didn't know anything about equipped, single ply, multiply. Learned all about it, the conjugate method, so that he could cater to his athletes, which I think is really cool. But we have had people join and they're like, and we have people that go to our gym now that are members of our gym, like still respect there, but they were like, just can't. This is not for me. And then they get a different coach.
It sounds like so much like a special ops unit. Like y'all are like elite to the point. It does though. It sounds like because like y'all are like all in as a team.
Well, how many?
So it's not
records
one of
does
those things where like anybody can join the army, but you got to be a certain level.
I mean, like I never thought about it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I kind of see it like you're like, oh, you want to be on SEAL Team 6? Okay,
I mean,
3.5 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can do it. And
that's the vibes.
but like
it's
we
given,
don't,
though, for real.
and we have such inert expectations of ourselves that like when we each have bad days or any one of us has bad days, like we all know how to push each other when we need to be pushed, but we also know when to pull back when it's not there.
Right.
And sometimes that's the hardest thing. Like I've had to get on her many times when she was like, I can do this. I'm like, not today, not today. It doesn't mean it's not going to be there, but it doesn't have to be there today for it to be there later. And that's a really tough one for newer athletes to understand.
Right.
They're like, why am I not touching heavyweight? I'm like, you don't need to touch heavyweight to lift heavy.
Right.
You need to do stuff right to express it later on. And that's always kind of been the form focus that I teach, which helps reduce injuries. I mean, that stuff's going to happen, but that's what she was saying, like the PT side of everything. We do a lot of creative stuff. I helped a lady at the meet I did a week ago, just because I saw her like rolling around on the floor. I'm like, oh, I know how to fix that. She's like, are you a PT? I'm like, no, I've just fucked everything up enough. I know exactly how to fix that. So, but I'm always willing to help anybody. I mean, it could be a first time lifter, whatever. Every meet I go to, I help everybody. And I had a kid that signed up, a week ago that I told you about. And like, I think his first meet was here when you let me host here. And he was like, you were just so nice to me in warm-ups, and I didn't feel like I was good enough to be on the team yet, but now here's my numbers. I'm like, you could have signed up that day, but like what, like I'd be happy to help you.
That's
so
awesome.
like I always try to help everybody.
And I think that also plays into it a lot because I have been around other coaches in powerlifting that it's almost like they don't want to talk to you sometimes. And like y'all have always been super welcoming. Like from the first time I met y'all came to my gym and did my little fun run version of a powerlifting competition just for the hell of it, y'all have always been more welcoming. And I think that helps too, because y'all get the people in there that are going to stay and put in the effort because they want to do good for y'all too.
He's the nice guy and I'm the enforcer.
So Alex and Chuck, like, because that's what she said about me in the last video. She's like, Chuck,
I like to
Chuck
put
can
her
be the
out there
asshole.
because then that saves me face. Because I mean, I can be a dick, but I don't like to be a dick.
I've never seen him be a dick, actually, and sometimes I'm like, being so nice.
I mean, it's just I always think that customer service side, it's good.
You,
it's a good dichotomy.
Yeah, that's Alex. She is the nice one of the business here. She gets everybody in, and when they start messing up and doing stuff they aren't supposed to, that's when I have to step in.
Yep.
So you started. How many clients do you have now? Like, how many athletes are you coaching?
Like 50. That's in person.
And you started in 2020 with none, right? Like, I mean, or did you have some before?
Well, you were first. So
I started in 2018.
Yeah.
And then you probably had about at least
20,
15 to 20.
Yeah, when we started a gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I meet someone in powerlifting, the first thing I ask is, do y'all know the Smurf lifting team? And like, that's like my first thing I ask, and most time they know y'all.
And it's so weird how that all came about. Like, it's just.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
That was Joe that got, like, he was the first person that I guess I was working out by myself. Like, I think I just got done rehabbing my knee, and like I was just going to the gym, like I need to do something. I need to get better, And he's like, hey, you need a workout partner? I'm like, sure. I was like, he's like 270. I'm like, fuck it. Like this will work fine. So like one day I was just killing him because he loved to kill me. Get another plate. I'm like, motherfucker, my arms are like dislocated. He's like, I'll help you. I'm like, you're not helping shit. You're doing all the work. So he finally got to a point to where, or I finally got to a point to where I was starting to catch up to him, and he was laid out on the floor, and I got to start pushing him harder and harder and harder to the point where I was like, I'm gonna do this fucking set before you even have time to sit down, like just to be a dick. And he's like, you're like a fucking little angry Papa Smurf. I'm like, I kind of like that. Yeah. So that was it. And then like, I think we had Nick joined us, and then Nick disappeared, and then Dustin joined us, and then Christie joined us. And like, it's a tough road to hoe, but we had some people that have come in and stuck it out, and all of them are really good lifters. I mean, really good.
If you had a guess, just a rough estimate, how many records does your team have?
A lot. I have no
like
idea.
How many do you have, do you think? Because I mean, you probably got more than
really
you
don't keep up with any of that shit, but I mean, I know I have like a lot of world records. I don't know.
I did a lot of research trying to build your portfolio for when we did the first limit breaker, and I was trying to promote everybody. And I think yours I had to stop because it ran off the page.
Well, like this meet I just did on one leg, like I broke my own national bench record, but it's also more than my world record. It just has to be in a bigger meet. But I mean, like I just did that on one leg. So I'm like, I'm just now I was so mad that I only have one good leg for that meet. That was the toughest thing. I texted her when I left the meet. I was like, I appreciate you coming. Thank you for giving me your time. I'm sorry I did not I was so angry.
Was this the one with the double detachment?
No.
Oh,
This was my meet. But like my groin muscle said, fuck you.
Well, and how did that happen?
Not lifting. I decided I would race my son. And the first round, I was like, "Oh, you're pretty quick. Let's run it back." About 8 steps in, that groin muscle goes. Whoop, I hit the ground in the middle of the football field. I started laughing. I was like, 3 weeks out from me, this is not good. He's like, "Are you okay?" And he runs up with, "It's filming." And he's like, "So, Dad, what did we learn?" I'm like, "You motherfucker!" I was like, "It hurts so bad. Turn off the fucking camera." I mean, he's a chip off the old block, So, so like. And I've done every PT thing. I mean, I would say it was a really bad tear. My whole leg was purple, and I was like, this is not good. But I managed to still pull a deadlift PR. But when I got to the meet, that squat, my second attempt at a low squat, it just went, I think I popped the scar tissue, and it was like, and so I squatted on one leg. And then after that, it irritated the fuck out of me. So.
I've only dealt with groin issues one time in my life. That was in high school playing football. And I don't even know how I did it. I just remember coach getting so pissed at me because he thought I was faking to get out of running, because that's all we were doing was running. And he's like, if you can't run, you're going to do push-ups and sit-ups. I was like, okay. So I went over and after about like 200 push-ups or so over the course of an hour, he's like, I believe you now. I was like, thank God I'm down over here.
Yeah. Everybody's asked me, including her, like, so what did we learn? I'm like, I learned the next time I'll stretch before I run, but I'm fucking running. I'm not going out like that. And my son said, how long has it been since you've run, Dad? I was like, what year is it? It's like, about 10 years. No stretching, no, just all out. Pow!
Show and go, baby.
Yeah.
Well,
Right on.
Idiots. Right?
Last time
Part of the course.
I think the last time I sprinted was racing you in your apartment in Alabaster, which was 12 years ago, 11 years ago. Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
I don't sprint very often.
Dude, even if something's on fire, I'll be like, I'll just walk.
Yeah.
I think it's important to do sprints. That's just me.
Well, you have a different lifestyle than us.
That's true.
They have a different lifestyle than me, and they're a lot more dedicated than I am. But so Papa Smurf, that's your shirt. Your shirt,
Yeah.
Is that y'all's custom shirt or?
Yes.
Yeah. That came from her. We were driving to Atlanta one time. That's when we were going to Madhouse?
We went to Madhouse to train, and
Yep.
we stopped at the liquor store to get whiskey because
You gotta have it, yeah.
Discount.
yeah, it's like Ed's discount liquor or something, I don't know, but got a bunch of whiskey, and I feel like I had said that before, along with another thing I used to say a lot.
But somebody was complaining, and I was like, Who was it?
JR was with us.
But no, somebody, I said, send a message, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And I was like, hold on. And you're like, don't be a bitch. And I sent it to them. And that's where it came from. So, yeah, that one comes up every now and then on like the Instagram memories. I'm like, oh, there it is. Don't be a bitch.
So are these shirts for sale?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to have to snag one.
Got a bunch of them at my gym that I can't use. I should probably start talking about shirts. I didn't even think about that. I've been pretty sidetracked. I just want to work out. It's like there's nothing more frustrating than having $60,000 worth of shit, and you're like, look at all these dust collectors.
Yeah.
That's rough.
So y'all did hit a couple commercial gyms. Where were y'all going?
We went to 24E. We went to Club 4 because one of the guys that trains with us sometimes has membership there. And then we went to Teddy's new gym, the guy who owned Lex.
That thing's pretty insane. Like just from the picture I've seen, it looks huge.
Yes, I mean, like, I probably don't ever want to bench there again.
It's just not, like I was telling you before we went on,
Mhm.
like it's not safe for us to live in a commercial environment.
Yeah.
It really is not. With the stuff we do, the amount of weight we move, that's good for the normal population,
Mhm.
but not anybody. That's the hardest thing for my athletes that are in our gym. And I mean, they're the ones that aren't my athlete, that are my friends. I'm like, have all this great shit that I
Yeah.
bought, and I want people to use it. I hate that it's sitting there on the floor.
Just
Even if I wasn't charging anybody, I hate that it's just sitting there. It needs to be used.
Mhm.
That's what it's for.
man, if you ever want to donate it, I'll take it. I'd offer to buy it, but I'm broke.
Ugh.
I mean, some of it gets used.
I mean, we use it.
Yeah,
Because
the
I'm
commercial
fuck
gym,
that shit.
That's perks of training with the special ops is.
Oh, I thought you were about to give me a compliment, but I'll take that.
Well, I didn't want to brag, but
Yeah.
yeah. Also, when you train with the owner, he gets to use his stuff. And
Oh yeah.
it's kinda
But
good.
what do we do when we hear a car driving up?
Oh my God, y'all!
Oh.
The other day I had elbow sleeves on because old, and wrist straps, and we were on bench, and there were 4 of us there.
4 of us. Yeah.
And we heard someone pulling up, and there was a guy that was supposed to be coming by, like comes to our gym, and he was supposed to come by, but it'd been like an hour after he said he was going to be there. So we hear the gravel, and everybody just starts unraveling everything. Chris goes and grabs a ladder to act like he's doing
Yeah,
something.
I'm acting like I'm hanging something. So the inspector comes. I'm like, this looks good for this poster right here.
I just got on the floor though, like I stopped.
No.
and rolled.
Yeah.
And then-
Yeah. You didn't just get on the floor. Both elbow sleeves fly off.
was
She does
rolling.
like a fucking ninja roll back there and is looking over the thing. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, just stand up and act like you don't act guilty. She's
I
like
know.
a little kid getting in trouble. That's what it looked like. I'm like, you're a grown ass woman. Fucking ninja.
You ain't that
roll
old. You
up
over
a
here
bit.
rolling across the floor.
Scared of spiders.
No, you should. Oh, yeah. Let's let him get into that. But you should have jumped up and be like, "There's my contact." You know, like if
Yeah.
somebody walks in, got it.
I don't. I don't do well. I'm not a good. I don't really bullshit. So I can't lie. Like I cannot tell a lie.
She lies with
Without
a big
laughing.
Cheshire cat smile, like, yes.
So someone would have been like, "What are you guys doing?" And he's like, "Oh, like I can't even say it without laughing." And he's like, "Oh, we're just hanging this up." I would have been like,
Yes.
so yeah, I just thought it'd be best if I hid, but then I realized there was nowhere to hide. So then I was just on the floor, and then Joe was walking, and I threw one of my elbow sleeves, almost tripped him. It was, yeah. So anyway,
It was all
I'm
for
just
nothing.
gonna hide in the bathroom in the dark in the shower if
Yeah.
that happens again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the generator we're using to run, it's just loud enough to where like you're like, was that gravel? Was that someone on the gravel? Oh fuck no, that was a train echoing off the mountain.
But yeah, like
You know,
that
like,
goes off
you're
of
like,
the-
we'll be bench and be like,
Hyper
you know, like
vigilant
it's
at this
real.
point.
Yeah. Right. No, it's not anybody.
You just gonna have to have one person standing at the door the whole time watching, rotate out.
And then I'm like, this is fucking stupid. You know, like I just want to fucking work out. It's like if we were selling meth, yeah, I would understand that, but we're not.
Yeah.
You would think we were though, by the way we react.
Yeah, I mean,
Truthfully.
just stupid guilty.
Also,
I bet the
way than plumbers
penalty
look.
for meth use is probably
Mhm.
less than that.
Yeah.
I mean, the other place, we weren't selling meth, but the guy before us definitely was doing.
Yeah.
something.
So when we were renovating the first place, we were taking out the kitchen wall,
Yeah.
and she hit a support, and the drop ceiling dropped like that, and a meth pipe landed on her and sat right there. She goes, "What is that?" I was like, "That
I
is
thought
a
I was going
meth
to
pipe."
prison.
I was like, "Oh no!" And she's like, "Get it off me!" I mean, it was absolutely hilarious. So I threw it in a bush in the back, but that was
I thought I was gonna get a felon. Like I thought I was going
Yeah.
to jail because it landed on me.
It touched
I don't
you.
know.
You
I've
got
never
your
been that
DNA
close
on
to
it?
drugs before. I was just like,
yeah. And of all people, it landed on you.
mhm.
Good old meth.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, like, like we try to do everything. I try to be accommodating. I try to be nice, but like people that are being unreasonable, that stuff bothers me so much. I'm like, man, I'm just trying to do this. I'm not doing anything that's bothering a soul. I understand safety, but
So is it the inspection
Stupid
because it's a
stuff.
new build?
Yes.
yeah.
That
And it's like there's no the address. Like the address hasn't even technically been approved by the city to be used as an address. So it's like all these things that I assume Steve, the guy who owns it, thought would be
yeah,
no
you would
brainer.
think he would, since he's building it, he would have done all the research on that.
Well, and he's, I mean, like he's a very educated man, like very successful, great guy, and he had got all that. It was already in the works, but it's like some of that stuff's just been.
It's like if you turn in
City.
plans to the city and say there's going to be 4 building sites on here, these will be the address of those buildings, and then they'll wait like 3 weeks and be like, they'll ask you a question like, well, are all the buildings there yet? He's like, well, no, just 2 of them. They're like, oh yeah, then it's denied. And he's like, what the fuck? So then he would turn it back in again. They're like, all right, so you're going to have 4 buildings. Well, what are you going to put in them? He's like, businesses. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, I can't
We
see
don't
the
know yet.
future.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. They're like, well, you may have to pay for a turn lane on that road. That's $250,000. He's like, the fuck I don't. So I'm going to do 2 buildings. They're like, well, what's in? He said, a gym. And they're, they only have this many people during the day, which circumvents the turn lane thing. They're like, okay, we'll give you our answer Monday, May the 6th. So
Because they only do it once a month.
yeah.
So now if it doesn't
it's
happen
not May
May
the
the
6th
6th,
and it's June the
that's
6th.
another month.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And y'all have got such a good spot too, because like right out back is a trail. Like, what's the trail that's right by there, huh, Joe?
It's on Ruffner Mountain.
Yeah. So like,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
trailhead. Like, there's an entryway to the trail right there.
Yeah,
outside the
people
gym.
parked at the gym the other day, so I think I'm just going to put up signs with my QR code for them to park there, so I can at least start making some money. That was
Mhm.
Joe's idea. I'm like,
That ain't bad. Yeah.
yeah,
Or they're gonna not have any their air's gonna be let out of their tires. I mean,
don't say that on edit that part out.
Yeah. I'll edit. I'll let
4 flats again, man. What are the
Weird.
odds?
it says private property. So
It does.
I didn't say how your air
It
was
is.
gonna
It
come
is
out.
new
I'm just
construction.
saying.
There's probably a lot of nails out there. I'm just saying.
It's true. Just
There
have
are
to be placed
actually.
strategically under
Yeah.
retirement.
Yeah.
So what's the other building going to be? Because y'all were talking about already wanting to move into the bigger one next door.
We should have moved into the bigger one because when we moved, first of all, let me just say,
Like, y'all packed that place out quick.
we did, and when we
I have no
started,
idea how.
we moved probably. Well, Chris was like, I don't know if I'm gonna move, and we're like, you need to do it. And then finally, he was like, we're gonna do it. All right, we're starting to move this week. Like the next day, we were moving. It was like a Wednesday.
Mhm.
And by that Saturday or Sunday, we were moved in. And then we were like, where's the new stuff going to go? Because this doesn't fit. So we might as well just go ahead and just go next door. And he was like, oh, we got plenty of room. We actually don't have plenty of room.
It's
I mean, it's
amazing.
very spaced out though. Like whenever, hold on, like the plans that I drew up of the thing, I was
Compared to
like
the-
I had like a vision. This is what I want it to look like, and even though we don't really have lights yet, like I see it, and I just can't wait for other people to like see it, and
Mhm.
like when it's operating,
100%.
because
Yeah.
we just weird shit. Like I was like, let's get turf indoors, and they were like, what the fuck do you want turf for? I'm like, I think it would look cool. And even when it was rolled up over there, everybody's like, "This is fucking stupid."
No,
this
we
weighs
wanted
8.
turf.
Hold on, this
It
weighs
is.
8 million pounds.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we gonna? How are we supposed to move this? This is the dumbest idea ever.
Because he got turf from a softball field.
It is
Football.
like high grass
Whatever.
turf. Like
Yeah, like it
I
needs
didn't
to be
notice.
Fit
mowed.
boy.
Yeah, like you sink down into it.
And
I
it
saw
has
a little
the
bit.
rubber beads or whatever
Yeah.
in it. So all it was just like there. And I'm like,
It's
this is not the
industrial
turf
grade.
we were talking about getting. So
You wanted
now
cheap shit.
I
want
wanted the
best.
logical whatever.
knit woven. Like
Now we
the-
gotta like sew it together.
Not bad.
It's
That's the least of my problems.
still a problem.
I
But
knew
turf-
having them
turf
on-
indoors looks awesome.
Oh, it does look awesome. Yeah.
Mhm.
I knew having them on here together was gonna be awesome.
But like Nate did the
I saw him doing the yoke carry.
the yoke carries were like what 700 600 something pounds and like was dropping it and the turf was perfect. I was like, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's good for like absorption of impact absorption, but just be careful with people doing yokes on that with the ankles and make sure they're don't have weak ankles, roller ankles.
I don't think it's not soft.
Well,
though.
I was just going off the video.
Make sure
it
they
feels
sign
like-
a waiver.
Oh yeah, if we're doing the waivers.
I was just going off the videos I saw from Nate. I could just see his foot going down into it just
It's
a little
it's
bit.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it needs to be cut. We need to get a lawnmower. we need to we need to weed eat the grass.
And we'll just turn it into shit turf.
So speaking of turf, made me think about it. Are you still doing stuff with rugby?
No, I'm still involved on the board. Still the president at the moment. Probably won't be for another year. I have been for 2 years now, and I think it's time to pass the torch. Plus, I'm way more involved with powerlifting and the WRPF now. So, but in terms of playing, it was too much to play and be competitive in powerlifting. And if I didn't have the knee problem,
Yeah.
it might be different. But it was just like my knee couldn't keep up, and I want to be able, like, the platform is what means the most to me. So,
And it's that all-in mentality too. Like she's like, if I can't be the best, then I don't need to do this because then I'm just going to be mad all the time that this problem, that problem, you know.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and that's how we all are. Like when I work like that too. Like people don't understand. Like my 9 to 5. That's how I work. I'm going to be the best. Everything. Like that means stupid, but like I'll shovel ditches during the day. It doesn't bother me the least bit. I will pick up all the trash in the parking lot just because that's the way I am. I just don't like things looking like shit.
Yeah. That's kind of why I'm backing out of strongman a little bit as far as competing. I know my limitations. I don't have the time to dedicate it to be competitive enough.
You just don't sleep.
Well, I don't sleep anyway. I've already got 2 kids. I got a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old.
yeah.
I mean, they sleep good, but I don't sleep because I'm worried about them. But I think at this point, I got this competition coming up Saturday. This will be my either I'll win it and then it relights the fire, or I come in second or third, which are the only other options because there's only 3 of us in the division.
Right.
And if I come in second or third, I'll probably back out for a while and just do the live streaming and the hosting and all the promotion side of it, which I love. That's where I've gone all in, is the promotion side.
Well, that's like somebody asked me, like, why did you do the meet knowing you only have 1 leg? I'm like, because I only do like 2 meets a year. And I'm like, fuck it.
it was
Yeah.
also just really, like, it was really fun. You
Yeah.
needed that time for yourself, and we got to, like, a couple of our teammates came.
Was this last weekend?
Yeah, we got
So-
an Airbnb. We just hung out and, like,
Yeah.
There was a
This is
ton
a
of
weekend,
people
yeah.
who were here.
Decompression.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
were a ton of people here Saturday that went to that thing Sunday. Like,
are you talking about the Warrior?
that-
this one
so
was
mine
a
was
2-play,
Saturday.
and then we
Oh.
drove back. and did-
Before we drove back right after the meet to do the Sunday thing. So like
oh, okay.
that was just like bang bang. But like, doing meets, I love training. I probably like training more than meets, but
Same.
there is
the
something about
process, yeah.
putting it in the books.
Yeah.
Like I want to put it in the books. You can hit as many fucking gym PRs as you want, but you do it in the platform, it's there forever.
Yeah.
And it cements everything. It cements that you can do it whenever it counts.
Yeah.
And I like that. We're sticklers on the way we judge each other. That helps to have judges in the gym, you know?
Mhm.
I mean, but you set that level of expectation, and it doesn't matter if you squat 100 pounds or 800 pounds. If it's high, it's high.
Mhm.
And we'll tell you, nope, that was no good. Do it again.
Yeah.
Even when you don't want to know. I have people, I'm like, soft knees. And they're like, who's this bitch? Like, why are you
Right.
even talking to me?
But I tell them, you want to hear it right here. You don't want to hear it out there
Yeah.
when you're really going to be butthurt.
Oh yeah.
Just don't appreciate that, honestly. Like they won't appreciate it in the moment,
Nope.
but in
there's-
that moment when it really counts, they'll appreciate it.
Go watch anybody's post-meet thing where they're like, oh, I got robbed. I'm like, the fuck you did. We told you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Call it.
Oh yeah. And I know y'all's like powerlifting standards are way more strict than strongman, but we even have that crap in strongman where people think they got robbed. And we're like, no, your knees are halfway bent on that
Correct.
deadlift. Your hips were
Yeah.
pushed back. You're leaning
Yeah.
forward.
How about we don't look at the front view?
Yeah.
You know, like that judge is just like this. You told me that they don't see that. Everybody else saw it.
At my last show, I set the judge's seat up like in a 45-degree angle on purpose. Like everybody's like, why are you guys over here? I'm like, so you can see the hips. Because you look straight on, you don't see the lockout of the hips.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
That's why we have 3 judges
Yeah.
on powerlifting meet.
It's also why I don't do powerlifting because it's too strict.
No, like I said, you want to do things to where if you set that standard for yourself, you can perform at that standard
Yeah,
whenever it's asked.
definitely.
That's
And that,
right there.
yeah, I'm
Love
that
it.
way on specific lifts because like there's certain things that I know that I'm better at than others. So I really hone in on like those technique on those, like the yoke carry for one. If I see someone doing a bad yoke carry, I go out there and call them out. Like there's a big window right here for a reason, and my desk is sitting here so I can see everybody do it. And the yoke, if somebody does something bad, because they can get hurt easily on that yoke, I'll run out there. I'm like, hey, no, hang on.
Yeah.
But it's you do have to keep that standard, especially with things that people can get hurt in. Because I mean, deadlifting, if you do it just wrong, you're going to throw your whole back out. You start rounding your back too much. That's the thing that kills me the most when you see these like teenage boys looking like dogs taking a shit because they're hunched over so bad.
She loves calling out fuck boys. Like, who's this one? I'm like, that's somebody who paid money. Just leave them alone. I don't coach them. Just let them go. Well, they're still a fuck boy. I'm like, all right, well, whatever.
The broccoli,
Right?
the broccoli.
Okay,
head.
and the one particular person you're talking about came in and
It's
said,
not one. There's many.
I
well,
say, do I need to clip this too?
No, there's a lot.
the most recent
If
was
you
like,
think it's you,
The most-
fix it.
I train here, and I was like doing, bodybuilding stuff, but I want to get more into powerlifting, blah, blah, blah. And you're wearing Gymshark and you got the really short shorts on and fine. But also you're benching one red. Your form's bad and you're too worried about how you look in your videos. Like, I'm sorry, maybe this isn't the place for you. But also, that's why he's the nice business guy. And
Right.
then I'm the one when people are committed.
Right.
That's like, hey, this is just how it's got to be. And even like we have our female population of athletes has really grown, which I think is
That's awesome.
super cool. Like we probably have on our team. I feel confident that we have the strongest female roster.
Hands down. I would
down.
say
Yeah.
that's the thing I'm probably the most proud of is how many 200-pound bench press females that I have. I don't really know of anybody else that has like more than 12, I think.
And you have 2 females that can pull over 500.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's insane.
Because I mean, even your comp, like the female showing was like night and day difference from the previous year.
Oh yeah, that is one thing that we've been really trying to harp on is getting more female involvement.
Yeah.
And this year we had our biggest female population yet, and I think we had one of y'all girls, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
She came out. That made my day when I saw crossover because we had this past event had the most crossover with powerlifters that we've ever
There
had.
were several powerlifters from the WRPF.
Yeah, because
Yeah, we had 3 people in it because I had Chris and Sam and Liz. So
But I mean women, because
Oh,
Chrisie
yeah.
Sparks,
Yeah.
Yep. Chris's wife.
Amy Tucker, and Tiffany.
I was like,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
her name? That's it.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had several guys that I'd only met through strongman. I think one of them was at the competition y'all hosted here. John, I'm blanking on his name.
Jonathan Olin?
No,
Oh.
the Vanilla Gorilla.
No, Vanilla Gorilla. Vanilla Gorilla.
I love how we made it so we were
like, what?
Blaine Sumner.
No, okay, then this other guy, he has something similar,
I don't
like
know.
a gorilla. Okay, it was John something, and I know he came from powerlifting because he told me that. He said something about his gear was something gorilla, and I thought it was the same guy.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
But he didn't
that's-
call himself.
That's my favorite.
No, he didn't call
though.
us. No, like he had like kind of like I have whiskey weights and Whey. He had something gorilla kind of thing.
I thought he was like, I'm the vanilla gorilla.
Oh
and
no,
I just- I
no,
would be
no.
That's
like-
my OnlyFans. So that's another thing that I've always liked. Like we'll go to like a meet. Like I've been to meets in like Vegas and Ohio and everything, and people are like, "It's really nice to meet you." I'm like, "I don't know who you are." They're like, "I am like Stargirl 659." I'm like, "I know who that is, but I don't know your name." You know, like things like that.
I'm
Like,
glad you didn't say Stargirl 69.
well, I don't. Like, you know what I
Should've said
mean? I'm just like the Instagram. Like I know the people's Instagram names, but like I
Yeah.
don't know their real name.
Because I
you
mean
know?
that's the way it is though. Like I like in the trail running community, like I would travel to Utah, Washington, and like I recognize somebody immediately. Like I don't know your actual name, but I can tell you exactly what
I know
your
what your
handle
yeah,
is.
like
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
exactly like what your cat looks like.
Yeah.
But, like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you
So
know
you're
these
like, so how
intimate
is
details.
Mr. Butters?
Right.
They're like, he's doing great.
That's exactly how it
Yeah,
is though.
yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah,
There's something magical, I think, about social media in that aspect.
I do
It is.
love that aspect. I think that's one of the best things to happen to the strength sports is social media.
Mhm.
I mean, disregard the fuckboy things, but like, you know, like there's people that post too much stuff. And so like sometimes I forget to post things. I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of need to do this. This is like an advertisement type
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
you know? So granted, we're doing underground gym right now too. So that's kind of cut back on a lot. But it does help to showcase. And I don't think that we really like our group specifically like to pat ourselves on the back enough.
Mhm.
Because again, we have a high level of expectation. You know, like we'll do something really good and be like, but it was just right. It didn't really count. So when we have a board, we have a big giant board now, huge board, and
Yeah, I saw you
we
talking
haven't even
about
put the numbers on it yet. But she has 20 hours on the board. She did it, not me. But
So many
like
hours.
like one thing that we specifically have always done is we only put up there our meet numbers. We don't ever put our gym numbers up there
Really?
because we wanted. That's what I did when
Mhm.
it mattered. You know,
Mhm.
it was not high if I squatted that. You know, or it was locked out if I deadlifted that.
Awesome.
So we've always done that, and I do know that when we were in our previous spot, you know, new people would come in. The first thing they would see is that board, and they'd be like, "Fuck, this is really impressive," you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
So you know, I really think that's cool because we have a screen printed version of the original board from the barbershop, and it's like teeny tiny, you know. And then you look at those numbers, we're like, God, I open with more than that stuff now. But you know, you had to start somewhere, and it's just that's kind of like that exponential growth type thing where you
Mhm.
see like, wow, that was only 4 years ago.
Mhm.
It seems like forever ago
Oh yeah.
because you do like a bench cycle or a deadlift cycle, you're like, that's like 3-4 months. And so those things, you lose track of time. I don't know what day of the week it is. We're like, it's today Tuesday. I'm like, oh, we're deadlifting. It's you know, like that's how I know what day it is.
Mhm.
Yeah. Did you know today's Cinco de Mayo?
No, and doesn't
I
matter.
found out like 15 minutes before
Yeah.
we started.
Yeah, he told me, and I was like, "That's perfect. We're going to Seven after this."
Get a mark. But I think I think it is important because I struggle personally with minimizing accomplishment.
Mhm.
Like it's just hard for me to recognize that I did something good
Yeah.
because I feel like that should be the standard.
Yeah.
But like
right.
at the same time, like I'm trying to grow through that because it's like, what am I actually like telling the universe if I'm not saying, hey, I did that really well? Like, should
Right.
I just?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's just like, oh, that's just standing operating procedure. I should do this well, but it is important to kind of acknowledge, yeah, I was really fucking good that day.
Right.
Or taking like for me when people like I don't think I'm anything special. I know that I worked really hard. I've invested. I think I have 6 years in the sport so far. It takes about 10 to reach your maximum potential, quote unquote, according to research and people that have been doing it for a while. So, like I still have a ways to go. And I think know what I'm talking about, but also I don't think I'm like anything great. So when someone pays me a compliment, I truthfully don't. I'm like awkward, and I'm like, oh
Yeah, you backpedal.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday. Like I don't know
Right.
what to say.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to not just her, but like really like any one of my athletes, like when they're not around me, I brag on them a lot.
Mhm.
Like I cannot help it. I'm like, they are really like you're gonna be blown away to like things like that. Like, how's the training going? I'm like, really well.
Yeah.
Because don't post anything. We don't
Yeah.
share things like that. But I brag on everybody. Like when there's something really good, like it is hard for not me to be like a proud parent. I'm like,
Right.
look at what you have done. Like I take so much pride in that. Like, because I know what I can do. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I care more about like, look at where you came from, look at where you are, and look at where you're going. And so you have to set that perspective. Like for her, she squatted 400 the other day for the first time in 2 years. And it was just like a fuck around thing. She's like, I just want to see what's there today. Like there was no plan or anything. And after she did it, she was like, and I was like, wow, that was really impressive.
It makes you feel good when somebody that you're working with for so long starts to do that. Like
well, you see people, we've known each other quite some time, and you see people go through phases, not just of lifting, but their lives. And you see like ups and downs,
Right.
and you're like, you need a W today.
Yeah.
And so like, that's another thing where I told you I write the program specifically. If somebody needs a W, I'm going to make it a W. I'm going to write it to where they can get something because I know they need it.
Yeah.
And it may have nothing to do with life. It may have nothing to do with lifting, but I'm going to try to do something where they can be like, today was a good day.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like the personal spin that I always try to put on everything. That's just me. I care a lot.
That's why we're special ops.
Yeah, exactly. I told her that when I did my first job interview out of college, they're like, what's your best attribute? I'm like, I care a lot. I'm going to go the distance. Like, what's your worst attribute? I'm like, I care a lot. And I'm going to go the distance. So like, that's it. I will fucking drive this boat straight through the goddamn dock, right into the middle of the city. If I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I'm going to go all the way.
Is it talking about seeing your people get better and stronger makes you feel good, like proud daddy moment? I have that, but also like I've got the competitive side too. Like I have a guy in our gym who he comes and works out and he has somebody else training him, which is fine. And he started beating me on deadlift and it's pissed me off and I want to catch up to him. But he's a lot bigger than me. And I'm like, still, I want to beat you. But then I have one of my guys who is coming like within 30 pounds of my deadlift. All of a sudden within the last year, he's jumped up from like in the 300s to over 500. And he's about to pass me. He like elbowed me the other day. He's like, what are you going to do when I beat you? I'm like, I might cry. I might be excited because I'm so happy for you. I was getting excited for you when you were pulling 510. You pull 550, I'm going to be jumping up and down. The other guy pulls 550. I'm going to be like, stop.
Yeah. And I guess that's one thing where we have that kind of that special ops mentality. It's like the rising tide raises all ships. When one of us does good, the rest of us seem to do really good at the same time. Yes. And it's almost uncanny because it's that inner competitive spirit. We're like, good for you, but motherfucker, I'm gonna get this. Like that's just how it is. And
but when you're functioning that closely as a unit, like you really are like, we're all gonna succeed. Like we can't not succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I love that aspect of it. And I appreciate that, like high expectations, high standards, like because I hold myself to a higher standard than most, but I can't expect, this person to do it.
Yeah.
But like I want to be a part of a team and an organization. It's just like, hey, we're fucking in.
I'm very good at that. The saying real recognizes real. Mm-hmm. Like I can tell right away if somebody's going to be made for it or not, because like, let's just call KT out. So like when she first started with us the first week, I saw in her the first time somebody sent me a video. And they're like, I think this girl needs to work with you. And I was like, that is the ugliest 425 deadlift I've ever seen in my life. But she's got potential.
Talk about cat back.
So she came there because she had grit.
Yeah.
So she came there within the first week. She cried. She walked outside and cried. And I was like, get your fucking ass back in here. But I knew that she had the sports history where she could take tough love.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. But like, and she was willing to suffer to do it.
She's
And,
gone
like,
so far since just that little meet that we had at my gym.
Mhm.
I think she was pulling like 400 there. I think she topped out like 405 or something.
No, she was pulling in probably the mid 4s or
This was
close
21.
to 5.
I think she pulled
No,
450, but that
450?
was the meet that
Yeah.
you weren't there at this one. But that's one when she came with me, and I made her
Oh,
drink
not the
the
one
whiskey,
where I was there too.
and then
Okay.
I was like, "Here, hit the ammonia, and then drink the whiskey." And she went out there and like literally forgot what she was supposed
Yeah.
to do, and then blew all of her air out, and she was like, "Nope."
But she's come so far since then. Like you could, talking about that mentality and stuff. Tough love.
She was a game changer for me
Yep.
because
It's hard to find a carrot for the number one rabbit over here. You know, I have to. It's very hard to find ultra elite people that can drive
Yes.
her,
Oh yeah, I imagine so.
because most people in powerlifting are good at one thing. That's another thing. We're all good at everything. Like we don't want to be just a specialist. Like I want to beat you across the board. Just really, because you have a lot of people that will be like, well, my squat's okay, my bench is shit, but that deadlift, be like, you're so far behind by the time you get to deadlift. Good luck.
Oh yeah. That's why when we were doing the state strongest competition, I had the team captain called me. He's like, "Who do we have in the state that's strong? That's women." I was like, "Christie, KT." I was like, "Those two," because we do have 2 pros in the state, but they weren't available. And they've done like the Arnold and stuff. I was like, if we can't get those, definitely these 2, Christie and KT, because like even if they don't have strongman experience, they could figure it out. I promise you. Because with the deadlift alone, y'all were going to smoke majority of the nation.
Well, like to the gym move thing. Like when I knew we were moving, there was a mock meet, and it was paying cash, and I was like, I can win this, and I can win this, and I can buy a wall. Like that was it. I'm gonna buy a wall. So we went there. And how about you tell the story? You can tell the story. I had to put the nice person sat down after I was like, she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
well, you're just telling the story.
yeah,
So-
well, you do it. Go ahead.
No, so he did this meet. Is obviously wasn't a sanctioned meet, but it was in Coleman, and me, KT, Liz, Chris were there, and the guy running the meet was like, "Hey, can you judge? I know you're like strict on judging." And KT, who judged for the first time there, even though she's not a judge, killed it. And we were like, "Yeah." So I was handling him, and he did very well. Like it was a good time. I would say a well-ran meet, but somebody got really hurt. And I won't go into the
That was the
spotters.
spotter thing. We can go into that later.
Yeah,
because
because
we got,
Is
we
that-
got good ideas.
Is that
for
what you were talking about before we started recording?
No.
That was not
different,
this,
different.
but so this guy was hurt pretty bad. But anyway, so we get through with the meet, and like we're certain like he's won this. There's no doubt about it.
Already did the
And
math. I
They
was
go
like,
through
I
and
got
they're
it.
announcing the winners. And the guy they said, well, they were like in second place, Chris Lentini, and I was like, fuck. So he goes up there, and he's standing there, and they just like shake his hand, and I'm like, mm-mm. So we're sitting there, and then the guy who
No,
won,
because they said like with the dots of like,
it was like 424 or something.
yeah, and I
really-
turned around, I was like, just like that, and she's like,
But the guy who
she
won,
did the eyes, and I'm like, she'll go handle this.
Yeah.
the guy
Just
who
went and sat
won
down.
was like one of their people, or the guy they claimed won.
Great guy though. I do like him. He's a
Yeah,
good
no,
guy.
he's
He didn't
top-notch
do
guy.
anything wrong. He had no
Yeah.
idea.
right.
Beside the fact.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a little showboating, but anyway. So
I mean, he thought he won.
they call. I mean, nothing against him,
Yeah,
but
right.
they call him up there, and I go there, and Chris was like, "That's not right, but it's fine." And I'm like, enough of this nice guy shit."
So it's $800.
And I walk over there, and
And
I'm
I was
like,
like, you know what?
I need to see the calculations. And the girl was like, I'm like, bitch, show me your calculations. And so she goes through, and she's like, who's this for? And she's like, oh, this is not right. And I'm like, yeah, it ain't right. Redo it again. And she was like, oh, so first place, Chris Lentini. And I was like, bring the money back.
They used my openers, not what I ended up with. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I haven't gotten a 420 dots in like 4
But
years.
this-
I don't know
guy-
how they calculate dots like that. I
It's
haven't
just,
figured
it's
that
real,
out.
It's real stupid formula. Like
It's basically a
Dumb.
multiplier of body weight to body lifted. That's
Yeah.
really it. So
I
it's pound for
gotcha.
pound.
I gotcha.
uh,
Okay.
kind of,
I mean, kind of,
But
but it uses like open power.
But
It's a
isn't there-
big formula.
But isn't there the Wilks for that?
well,
No,
they
don't do that anymore.
the
I like the
dots
Wilks.
use like the bell curve
yeah.
technically.
Oh, okay.
But this guy was like, dude, keep half the money. And I'm like, no,
I was like,
it's
no.
all the money.
But I mean, I'm nice. I was like, I'll split it with you also. Like it.
Yeah.
I'm not here for the money.
Which
Like-
was a lie.
I mean, but money doesn't matter to me.
It did that day. We
I
needed a
know
wall.
it does, but it doesn't to me. Like, did I win? Yes.
And we
I'm good with
got
that.
all the money.
And I bought a wall.
A wall. What do you mean you bought a wall?
So like a wall in the gym. Like I had to go buy like the
plywood?
lumber and everything. Like
Okay.
there's $800. Ta-da! No, it's
We
so
built
pretty,
a
right?
wall.
Huh?
lumber is expensive.
Yeah, we needed to probably clarify that. I'm just
Yeah.
going around saying we're trying to get a wall.
Not that wall. Not Mexico
The
wall.
wall.
Yeah.
A wall.
I mean, it is election year. So.
I mean, it was like 16 planks of plywood, the 2x4s to frame it, all the nails and then the paint.
$3,200.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's
I
end with
want
the thing
to-
that
the
from this
safety.
weekend. Yeah, the safety.
That's what I was
thing.
about to say. Let's talk about that safety
Yeah.
thing. I want to hear that.
Like. Okay, so
Do you want me to talk about how I feel about?
No. Like
I mean, you can.
before you got here, I told him like what we saw happen yesterday. But like
Yeah.
before the lift happened,
Oh,
I
that was
like,
yesterday. Okay.
It was yesterday. Yeah, I was
Mm.
like, God, this something feels sketch about this lift that's about to happen. Like, there's no counterweights on the mono. The spotters aren't really spotting the right way. I was
Yeah.
like, I told you. I said,
He
film
did.
this. I said, film this. You're like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not gonna film it. I'm like, something. I just feel something.
you do,
I
yeah.
feel it. And so it was 716 pound squat. The guy starts going down,
You
and
could tell going down. It was not.
it did
gonna
not
go
look like
well.
his second attempt. Like
Yeah.
it looked like he was fighting through something's hurting, but I'm going to keep going. And then like that left side patellar tendon just goes, it rolled up, and then the right side rolled up. He hit the ground, stuck there, and was pinned because the bar was not in the straps. The spotters were freaking the fuck out, and so instead of picking it up,
Yeah.
they were like,
Everyone was like, help. And I'm like, so because they weren't, first of all, the guy's 6'5". This stuff pisses me off. I feel very passionate about it. So
Yep.
this guy's like 6'5". Okay. The spotters, first of all, look like maybe they just started lifting a couple years ago, minus maybe one of the guys. Okay. You're supposed to have 2 spotters per side, over 500 pounds, plus the back spotter. Right. The guy's tall. So if you're spotting like this, first of all, the bar is going right down. But also, you don't want to be spotting weight where you have to overhead press it into the, like
how many
Get
people
some
you know
bigger
overhead
spotters.
press 300 pounds? Do you know any
Oh, I
people
know-
that
I
do
know-
that?
I know a lot of people.
Like this?
I know
Not like that.
this? Yeah.
Not like that, but I know.
No. Well, somebody's life depends on it. Not going to happen.
yeah. So, I mean, so had they caught the weight, and there was another guy in the, I think, second attempts that
Mhm.
got hurt because he went down. And as a spotter, what you're supposed to do is watch the path of the bar. So if the bar goes forward, goes backwards, goes down, like you grab it.
You recognize a quick movement in a squat, you're like, something's wrong, like
Right.
immediately take the weight.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So this guy popped his quad, so he was out of the meet. And after that, I told him, I was like, I feel like somebody's getting hurt, like the spotters. And we both were talking about how we're empaths, so which I think makes us like a good team, but also we butt heads all the time. So anyway, I already felt kind of iffy about that. But this guy goes up to squat. His second attempt flew, gets up there. He did say everything that he said, and I was like, I don't want to film this, like whatever. And the guy starts going down. I'm like, this is not going to be good. And then had the spotters caught the weight, he probably would have blown
have
one knee out.
one
but
knee,
he would
one.
have one. But he was trapped under the bar. He was screaming. Then he started saying, I can't feel
It
my
was the
legs.
worst thing I've
Help
ever
me.
seen in my life.
And
Like,
honestly,
in person, I was like,
Like
Yeah.
I've been a volunteer firefighter. I've seen some really messed up stuff. The screaming will be stuck with me for a while.
yeah.
Because from where we were, it looked like he was trapped under the bar for a long time. But when we
Everything
watched the
slows
live
It may have
down.
been
stream,
two,
Oh,
3
yeah.
seconds, but like
it was like
that's a fucking eternity under 716
Oh,
pounds.
everything like that
And you're
slows down.
pinned,
like this,
just pinned.
with
You
no
can't let
legs.
go.
Yeah.
it was that was haunting for sure. But I reached out to our state chairman. I'm like, Heidi, I feel really passionate about it, because the way it usually works is you have a meet and you're like, hey, can you guys spot and load?
Get a t-shirt and something to eat.
Right.
Yeah.
But it could be anyone. It could be your cousin. It could be anybody.
Right.
And for the meet I'm doing, I made sure we got people from our team so they know what they're doing. But I told her, I'm like, Heidi, I really feel like we need to host a seminar to show people how to because it sounds silly, but even like loading the bar.
Yeah.
You know how many misloads I've seen? And not like just like a pound or two, like
a whole plate.
55 pound
Yeah.
misload.
Cost one of my athletes in New
Mhm.
Orleans at nationals. They
So-
fucking left a red off.
Well, he should have checked.
But I mean, still, when you're hyped on your opener, you're not thinking about a red.
No.
I mean, we do. I'm fucking paranoid because we misload shit on ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yep, that's right.
Right. Well, and the judges should have caught that too. So
Correct.
it's like a whole thing.
That's why.
Go look at the chat. Me and you both were like, you know.
When we do our little fun powerlifting meet, like fun run version of it, we use the actual catch bars. We set it like 3 inches below their depth. That way, if they fail, they just set it down and then crawl out from under it. Because I'm not about to have somebody blow their quads out from getting stuck under the daggone bar when they're not even doing it for real competition.
Yeah, I mean, but that as horrible as that is, I mean, like that doesn't happen that often, and usually it's because somebody's doing something in their body, they're overriding that, like something's hurting.
Right.
I'm just keep going. You know.
Well, and I'm definitely not going to say any names, any comps, but the people who know. We had a horrible situation like that happen last year at a competition I was in. It was the Hercules hold. They were doing 2 big lumber poles, and they were holding on to it. Well, the guy who got up there was a double. He was a single amputee. He had one leg, but he had both his hands. But he had tore his bicep earlier in the comp. So instead of withdrawing from it, he got this other amputee who had one arm. He had a strap where he could like wrap it around stuff and pick stuff up. And he strapped himself to one side and he held on to the other. And when they released it, the side that he was holding on, and I told Alex, I was like, same thing you did. I said, record this. And I've got it on video because Alex was sitting on the bleachers recording. It was a 10-second clip, but it felt like it took 20 minutes to happen. The guy, he strapped into this side. This one pulls him, and instead of letting go, he holds on, and the chains that were supposed to hold this one from flipping back broke. And it has metal weight horns with weights on it. The horn come down and like grazed his cheek. It almost impaled his head. Like we're watching this from the sideline. Alex actually got knocked off the bleachers because my buddy, he's a Marine. He instinctively took off running towards them and knocked her down. Like we all rushed him to like get it off of him. It was like it wasn't even a 10-second clip. And I still got it on my phone somewhere. And like he crushed his hand between the poles. It slammed down on the back of his head. No concussion. He was the most lucky man I've ever seen in my life. He drove himself home from the hospital that day.
Oh my.
I was like,
I think as a society, we just shit on safety so much.
oh, yeah.
Like we just don't think, it's not going to happen. Like
What's our motto?
That's your motto.
No.
but us, from our background.
Yeah, our background.
Like safety is like top tier priority.
Yeah,
And
rule
so,
number one is don't die at my comps. Like that's I say it every time. Rule number one, don't die. Rule number two,
rule number one,
don't get hurt.
don't die.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I think I get like poked at a lot because I'm like, hey, let's look at the risk management kind of side of things. I'm like, if I'm on a mountain or like climbing a 14er or sometimes like, hey, this move is risky, I just do it. I'm like, I don't want to get air vac out of this place.
Yeah, you're
so
doing
yeah. But it's just
like, how's the weather in the updraft today before I attempt this?
Right.
Yeah.
But like my buddy, so we're doing this really like a 14er traverse where like this is super bad ridge line. And it's just like conditions have to be perfect. And so about halfway, I was like looking back, I was like, man, that is a storm that's coming here. And my buddy, he's just like, I don't care. I will ride and die. I was just like, hey, dude, I'm turning back. He's like, no, we're good. I was like, we may be good, but like, I'm turning back. I'm not taking this risk. And like, for the first time in his entire life, he looked at me and was like, I'm going to go with you. And so like, we didn't even get down like below tree line until we just got pelted with lightning, hail, and all this kind of stuff. I was like, he's like, dude, what if we would have been up there? I was like, we probably would have died.
Probably would have died.
But he was just like, I think that changed his perspective of like safety.
Yeah.
Because like going forward, he's like, I kind of want kids one day. I kinda want, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't think about it because you're just like you're invincible.
Yeah.
But yeah, safety is, and it's just it sucks so much because it takes a lot of fun out of it.
It does.
But at the same time, it's like
But you would
I want
rather
to continue
live.
doing what we love to do.
Right.
Well, go.
I'm definitely the one in the gym that's concerned with safety. I'm like, can we please put the straps down? And
She's
he's
the
like,
voice of reason. I'm like, what?
safety line. Oh, Jesus has
drop
it.
Thank you for being you, though.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Well, I think we need to wrap this one up. We're almost at a minute or an hour 20.
Okay.
So we normally in this finishing our drinks. Does everybody have something in their cup?
I ain't
Yep.
got shit.
There you go. I said we need to. Let's go ahead and finish that bottle off. Split it between us. Do you need a little more, Chris?
I'm good with. I've still got
Thank
a
you.
healthy shot.
Go ahead and just pour it in there. Again, if
Let
any
me help
whiskey,
you out.
if anybody wants to sponsor us and give us a bottle of whiskey, we'd be very
I've been
gracious.
trying to get sponsored by a whiskey company.
It's hard. All right.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
y'all.
Christ.
Remember, nobody cares.
Train harder.
That's right.
Don't be a bitch.
Don't be a
I gotta
bitch.
get a shirt.
Yes.
Like 100%.